times a day to make you feel proud. Still so many answers I don't know. There are so many answers. Realize that your question is how we grow.
You can call me Abby. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I am the artistic director of the Trans Chorus of Los Angeles, which is the nation's premier chorus made up of trans men, trans women, gender nonconforming, gender non-binary individuals like myself, and intersex individuals, and we sing. We promote trans victory through song. Our motto is changing that trans narrative from victim to victorious. For all those that identify as non-binary, I'll tell you a quick story. I spent most of my years of life saying I was a gay black man with a lot of sugar in their tank, but I've always known there was way, way more there. And about 7 years ago, I heard the term non-binary, gender non-conforming, gender non-binary. And for me, it finally made sense. People often think if you're non-binary, you have to be either overly feminine or overly masculine, but really that duality is always there and always been there. These nails, this lip, that's all outer exterior. Where it really resonates is in my soul.
I never knew when to shut up because I had to decipher between cállate y cállate. I knew two bitches, hijo de puta y jueputa, and if that didn't work, fue la gran puchica. I am half pupusa, half taco. El Salvador is a country I've never known. El Salvador is a country that lives more in my veins than it does in my gender expression. One time I got recognized on the street and someone's like, oh my God, can I take a picture with you? In front of my mom. My mom says, why are people trying to take pictures with you? Ni te sabes limpiar los calzones. I was like, Mom, don't be putting that out there. Next thing you know, tweet. Nalgona es cagona. Like, girl, don't be telling you like that one, amiga. Ay, amiga. Amiga.
My name is Jose Richard Aviles, also known as Soy Nalgona on TikTok. I'm an artist, urban planner, but more than that, just the hottest mess.
Oh, okay, yeah, you was a little risque today with the entertainment. No, I love it. You know, you said half Mexican, half Salvadorian.
Yes.
I love it. The poetry, you have a book out now.
I do
too.
have a book. Yes.
Okay, blast the book again.
It's called Semilla, which is Spanish for seed, and it's all about just the nastiness. I mean, there is some like nastiness, but also just family, love, being the first one to go to college, being the first one, being the only queer one. So it's a little bit of everything that I lived in my life. So it's called Semilla, and you can find that online.
Did you grow up in South Central or?
I did, born and raised in South Central.
Oh, okay.
Off of Vernon in Vermont.
Okay,
Yeah.
Grew up in the church Catholic, huh?
I did. I was raised in the church Catholic for sure.
Okay. Wow. Like just I like that chant you had about like gender. Like how has gender played a part of yourself? Like how did you find your identity?
Yeah, I think I'm constantly finding it. I mean, to be real with you, the only constant thing in my life has been my queerness. But my queerness has changed so much. I'm not the same queer person that came out in the 3rd grade that I am now at 31. It's completely changing and morphing. I think in the way that I feel more comfortable with myself and having to process all the insecurities of not feeling desirable enough to the point that I'm like, I've had lovers, like I was almost engaged, like I'm cool, like I know who I am and I know my worth, and now that I feel so comfortable in that, my gender just feels like much more expansive, and the possibility of my magic as a queer person just feels much more expansive. I mean, you know, in the joke I was saying, like, for queer folks, like, I see you with magical creatures. Straight folks, I mean, I don't know. You know, like, I don't know about y'all. I don't know. Yeah.
I think that trans masculine folks or trans men that are BIPOC, people of color, I think that our experience is different because of the way that we're treated in the world as people of color first. So first, I am black. That is the first thing you notice about me when I walk into a room. And then everything else kind of follows behind that. But me being black first is going to definitely determine how I'm treated in the world, and even more so how I'm treated in the media. Media portrays black folks in so many different ways, and it's gotten better over the years as black folks have taken the reins and taken that power of creating media into their own hands. So now we're being portrayed from our own lens as opposed to being portrayed from other folks' lens that don't look like us. I created Invisible Men in 2018, and I created it out of a lack of resources that I personally didn't have, and so I felt if I didn't have them, then other trans masculine folks didn't have those resources. And so I did a lot of research around what it would take to build these resources. So we started with support groups, we started with other programming around healing and art. And me personally in my lifetime, like in that space, I was tired of not being seen, not being able to be heard. I was just tired of dealing with erasure. And so I said, well, you know, let me create my own space. And so Invisible Men was born. When I was younger, music got me through a lot of the hard things that I had to go through as a kid. Coming to terms with my gender, coming to terms with just growing as a person and being a Black person, right? Music was the art form that got me through those parts. And as I got older, I started to explore other art forms. And I landed on digital art. And digital art was a way for me to be able to get out a lot of my aggression, a lot of my sadness or my happiness, whatever the emotion was. Visual graphic art was my way of doing it. And so when it came around 2020 happened, George Floyd happened, there was a young man named Tony McDade who was killed a couple of days after George Floyd, but got no media time. He didn't get any honors or any recognition that he was also a Black man that was killed by police. And because queer folks are often left out of the narrative when it comes to Black folks and how they're treated by police, I felt it necessary to put all Black Lives Matter. I said, well, look, I want to change it up. I don't want it to say what everybody else is saying. I want it to be different. And so they said, well, go ahead, whatever you want to do, you can design it. So I really sat down and I looked at it and I said, all Black Lives Matter need to matter, right? And so the all is in trans colors because trans folks have led the way in the LGBT fight. And then we put Black in the stereotypical, in the yellow, because that was what everyone was using to, and that particular one was to represent all Black people, not just queer Black people. And then lives is in the non-binary colors, and then matters is in the standard pride colors, the standard LGBT pride colors. But it was important to me that that statement was made because we shouldn't be left out because our lives matter and are just as valid as any other life.
I can feel my soul.